Hello, Set Apart Saints. This is David, and I've been busy updating the 70th week of Daniel 9, the Olivet Discourse, and the Revelation website homepages to format them as a path of learning. So you can visit those websites. You'll see there's just introductory text to engage people, to try to stir up their thoughts, that it'll challenge them to consider a different explanation. On the home pages are links to one-page PDF summaries that people can print to help them see the big picture of the fulfillment. And I give links to video explanations on the 7th week of Daniel and Revelation, and people can also request a PDF copy of my books. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to share the historicist explanations of prophecy fulfillment to win the battle. And I realized after the last video that if you think that you need to be able to explain all the details of the fulfillment of Revelation, or even the 70th week of Daniel, before you share it with others, then it probably won't happen. When you present the historicist narrative, people can become very combative because you're implying that they and their pastors have been deceived. Some people have become experts at explaining the futuristic explanations. They fight against the historicist narrative with a barrage of scriptures and explanations to counter it, which can be intimidating to try to overcome. In this video, I'll give you a method of sharing truth to let people qualify themselves. Those who are praying for truth and are teachable will ask for more information. Those who aren't will reject it, and all you can do is pray for the Spirit to move in their lives. You know, it's amazing how the Spirit of truth has used my past experiences in business to mold my mindset and prepare me for ministry. And an example of that is after being downsized for the second time from the computer IT industry, I made it a goal to work for myself. And the first step was becoming a certified web designer. I helped a few people create websites, but found out that wasn't the business that I wanted to be in. But the knowledge that I gained has proven invaluable in being able to create readable, easy to navigate websites for ministry. And I also learned how to get them ranked in search engines so that people who are searching for truth on Google can find it. Another learning opportunity was in network marketing. How many people have experienced someone who joined a network marketing company and they were so excited that every time they saw you, they shared stories and tried to get you to join their organization? And how do most people react to that? They start avoiding that person. People don't like being pushed into something. I heard the parable of the sower taught by a top AdvoCare rep that was making millions every year. Now, MLM wasn't a good fit for me, but I always remembered the following lesson, which I now apply to sharing the truth of prophecy fulfillment. And I covered this more in detail on a previous video, but I'll summarize it. The hard path people think that they're rich in understanding the truth of prophecy fulfillment. So they will reject historicist explanations. They're experts at explaining the futuristic fulfillment of Revelation, which the enemy created to blind them. So you can present it to them, but they're hard path people and they're just going to reject it. And when I make these declarations about people, I'm not trying to be judgmental of them. I'm just saying that's where they're at. That's their level of understanding. That's how they're going to react as a hard soil person. A rocky, shallow soil person will feign interest, but when the explanation is contrary to their programming, their interest dries up quickly. You can give them a book, they will read a few pages and then toss it aside because they have no root in understanding the historicist narrative, as the witness of the saints who have gone before us has been hidden by the enemy, and they're surrounded by people who are teaching the futuristic explanations. Thorny soil people seem genuinely interested, but the things of life choke it out. They don't really care about prophecy fulfillment, as many think that they will be raptured out before the antichrist reveals himself, and most of Revelation is fulfilled during that time when they'll be away in heaven. Fertile soil people pursue truth and bear fruit. If you've watched the videos in this series, then you're a fertile soil person. Yielding a harvest takes work. You have to pay a price to learn truth. You have to study scripture, pray for truth, read commentaries, watch videos about the historicist narrative, and read books. On Facebook and YouTube, when I'm engaged in a discussion with someone who is disagreeing with my explanation, past experience tells me that the person is so confident in their explanation that they probably won't change their mind. I can explain prophecy fulfillment pretty well, and I don't recall one person who has opposed my explanations in a discussion on Facebook or YouTube ever admitting that they've changed their mind. Why is that? because they're hard soil people who think that they know the truth and they aren't looking for another explanation. In Messiah's words to the end times church era of Laodicea, he said that people will think that they're rich, but they're really poor, naked, and blind. They call me names like heretic, preterist, deceiver, etc. If that's reality for me, then it will probably be the same for you. I post comments for people who may be reading the discussion on YouTube or Facebook, who see the futuristic explanations, which they're probably familiar with, and then see the historical explanation, which may open their eyes. The same seed, which was rejected on the hard path, may take root in fertile soil people. The bottom line is that your role is to scatter the seeds of truth of the fulfillment of prophecy, and let the Spirit move to germinate those seeds and grow them up. So let's talk about the mindset and the approach that we need to have in sharing prophecy fulfillment. Telling people that they're wrong, that they've been deceived, even though it may be true, is not an effective strategy. People don't like learning that they've been deceived about something, especially from their friend or a family member. You can know all truth, but if you're talking to a parent, a sibling, a pastor, a friend, they find it hard to learn truth about prophecy fulfillment from you. They esteem people who have been to seminary, who are supposed experts at explaining the Bible. Messiah's own people rejected him. His brothers rejected him initially. People don't want to learn that they've been misled, especially by their Bible college, their pastors, their parents. The enemy has systematically programmed people's minds with the futuristic narrative so that they reject anything that's contrary to it. So being combative and telling people that they're wrong and that they've been deceived won't work. For people who have been programmed with a futurist mindset, giving them the websites, videos, and books will probably just lead to them rejecting the explanations, because the historicist explanations are contrary to what they've been taught. Remember that the enemy has programmed their minds through repetition, through John MacArthur study Bibles, Left Behind books and videos, David Jeremiah and Chuck Swindoll TV and radio programs, many Christian YouTube channels, websites, their pastors, etc. So, again, if you point them to my websites, the videos, the books, they will think that it's absurd that the Heavenly Father has revealed truth to a few people while letting so many others be misled. This is because the enemy has hidden the witness of the many saints who have gone before us, who gave the historicist explanations. It's only during the last few centuries that the false futuristic explanations have taken hold. The explanations are especially hard for people who've been to Bible college because they blindly believe that their professors must know the truth. So giving the books to pastors probably won't bear much fruit. So let's talk about a better approach and the psychology behind it. Again, people don't like being pushed into believing something. They want to learn it for themselves. They don't want to admit that you know truth and that they've been deceived. If you give them a book with one man's explanation, they will reject it. Then when you follow up to see if they read the book, you have an awkward situation. When you give a little information and then don't push them, that allows them to choose to pursue it or not. Play out your role and let go of the outcome. The more you push something, the more that they will resist. Your role is not to teach them anything. It's to help them learn it for themselves. Your role is to share enough information to cause interest and to pray for the Spirit to move in their lives. You simply want to create curiosity and doubt in their mind so that they will ask for more information. You want to qualify people to see if they have interest. So give them a summary study to show them the big picture, to make them consider that the prophecy has been fulfilled, so that they may become interested in getting more information. The enemy's narrative of most of Revelation being fulfilled during the last 7 or 3.5 years is based on the concept of a futuristic 7th week of Daniel. So I would start with that prophecy. Give them the one-page summary PDF of the fulfillment of the 7th week of Daniel, which is on the homepage of the website. You can save the PDF, you can email it to them or print it out for them, but they can ignore email. So if possible, give them the printed explanation. Pray that the Spirit moves in their life to show them truth, and then let it go. The one-page summary invites them to get a free PDF of the 7th week of Daniel 9 decoded book. The homepage of the website gives them a learning track so that people who are searching for truth will find it. If they ask you for more information, then give them a link to the videos about the 7th week of Daniel. But if they reject the explanation in the summary, there's no use in giving them more information. And the harder you press, the more you cause them to defend their beliefs. Just let it go and pray for them. This method is so much more attractive to them, and they may circle back later for more information. For people who have read the 7th week of Daniel 9 decoded book and want more information, I recommend moving from the 7th week of Daniel to Revelation. The reason is that they just learned that the 7th week of Daniel is not a 7-year tribulation period in the end times. So that causes doubt in their minds about the fulfillment of Revelation. Then when they understand Revelation, they can study the fulfillment of the Olivet Discourse. So I would start with the one-page summaries, which help them see the big picture of the narrative of Revelation. And these are on the homepage of the Revelation Timeline Decoded website. These two summaries may open their eyes, so I would kind of start with these. The first one is called What Makes More Sense? It's a one-page summary that helps them see that it makes more sense that Revelation is about what the saints experience from the first century until Messiah returns, instead of supposedly being fulfilled during the last 7 or 3.5 years. The other PDF is called Who is the Antichrist? It's a one-page summary which shows how the popes of Rome come in the name of Messiah, but mislead people with a false gospel, and how their actions are against Messiah and his saints. Again, all these summaries I'm going to talk about are on the Revelation Timeline Decoded website homepage. And on those one-page summary is a link to the website. So if they have interest, they're going to go to the website and they're going to read the homepage, and it's going to stir up these thoughts in their mind. If they're teachable, they're going to pursue it. They're going to look at the PDFs. They can save them. They can print all of them. They can link to the videos to watch the videos, so they can determine their own path. To guide them, you can share these PDFs that give more information. The Revelation Roman Beast Kingdom Leaders one-page summary shows how John describes the Satan-empowered leaders of the different phases of the Roman Beast Kingdom, which is described in Revelation 12 and 13. The How the Popes of Rome Fulfill Bible Prophecy one-page summary shows them how the office of the papacy, the popes of Rome, fulfill prophecy as the little horn of Daniel 7, the son of perdition of 2 Thessalonians 2, and the Antichrist beast in Revelation who leads the harlot church of Rome. The Prophecy Points of the Roman Catholic Church PDF shows them how the Antichrist beast Pope's church fulfills the description in Revelation 17 and 18, whose priests wear purple and scarlet, who use the golden cup during their blasphemous Eucharist ceremony, who have been used to kill tens of millions of saints during the Dark Ages and the Inquisition, and who have enriched the kings of the earth. A PDF called How the Futuristic Prophecy Explanation Spread helps them see when and why the futuristic explanations were created, so that they can understand why the futuristic explanations are so popular today. You can give them all of those one-page PDFs or one at a time. It's up to you. You just have to discern, their hunger for truth and how much they're pursuing. They have the website on them, again, so they can determine their track. They can read the homepage, follow the path of learning. And on the homepage, they can request a PDF of the new Revelation Timeline Decoded Summary, which is about 87 pages long. So I just created that. What I did is I took the basic information from the book and put it into a summary format. So it gives the explanations from the book without all the detailed explanation of the fulfillment and the quotes from the theologians. So you're welcome to request the PDF to help reinforce the explanations in your mind. It's 87 pages. I would print it out if I were you and put it in a binder. It'll just help, cement that in your mind to get the explanation over and over without having to read the book over and over. The Revelation Timeline Decoded homepage also has these one-page summaries for people who have read the book summary. The Prophetic Chapters of Revelation gives a summary of each chapter. The 7 Churches of Revelation PDF summarizes the 7 church ages. The 4 Chronological Layers of Revelation PDF shows how the layers interact to give the whole picture. The Revelation Layers chart helps them visualize the fulfillment of Revelation and how the layers interact. So this process allows them to determine their path. Then if they see the fulfillment of Revelation and want to know more about the Olivet Discourse, you can share the Olivet Discourse Decoded one-page summary, which is on the homepage. Then they can follow the track of learning on the homepage of the website, and they can request a PDF copy of the Olivet Discourse Decoded book. So let's talk a little bit about overcoming objections, because people will try to engage you and go, what about this? And what about this? And what about the 2 witnesses? And what about this? And they just try to engage you, and it's so hard to overcome because their perspective is futuristic And so we're just talking about two different narratives here. So it's just really impossible to convey in a discussion to someone that's futurist minded. And really what they're trying to do is if they give you one objection and you can't answer it, they're just going to dismiss the whole thing. That's kind of the strategy in their mind. And so if they ask you questions, you can say something like, I want you to get the verse by verse explanation. I'm not an expert at explaining these things yet, but what I've studied aligns with scripture and history, and I think that it's worth your attention. You can say, you're probably going to have a lot of questions, so it's best to read the full explanation. By doing this, you're creating a pattern that everyone can duplicate. And I created a one-page summary PDF. That's what I do, I guess. I create one-page PDFs. I created a one-page summary PDF of how to share the historical fulfillment of prophecy, which is on the bottom of the About page on the website. So on the 7th week of Daniel, Olivet Discourse, and Revelation websites, on the top menu, you see the About page. Go to the bottom of it, and there's a link to the summary to help guide people. So it just kind of helps you remember in the training in this video, really. So you can duplicate it, know the mindset, know how you're approaching people, and know your role, and just know to share a one-page summary. If that engages them, then they can determine their own path. If it doesn't stir anything in them, just pray for them. So this month, it's December, I'm working on more projects to make sharing the fulfillment of prophecy easier. Be sure to request the Revelation Timeline Decoded Summary PDF on the homepage of revelationtimelinedecoded.com. I plan to start making videos about the fulfillment of the Olivet Discourse, maybe later this month, but probably in January. So I'm just trying to wrap up a lot of different projects, and then we'll pick up in a few more weeks. So I hope that helps you be able to share the prophecy fulfillment studies. I know that it's intimidating to present this to family, friends, people on Facebook, even in discussions. So I realize what you're up against. Trust me, I'm up against it every single day, and I get it. So I want to make it easier for you to be able to share, not be intimidated by people trying to counter all your explanations. You don't need to explain it. It's not your role. I mean, if you grasp all of it and you can explain it, that's great. But most people can't. We're still learning and growing to clear out the futurist explanations from our minds and really grasp the amazing fulfillment of prophecy. So hopefully that empowers you. Love y'all. Shalom.